Welcome to episode 3 on our driver series. So far we have covered the importance of the strike in episode 1. Episode 2 we did the setup. So if you haven't seen them, please check them out first before you watch this video. So welcome to Amey Golf. Episode 3 is all about that lead foot and what a massive difference that can make to consistency and producing some extra power. So we have 3 things to cover with our lead foot. Simple, straightforward, but very effective. Number 1 is the angle of that lead foot. The lead foot can be a big restriction to how much you turn through that shot. You're doing an internal rotation into that lead hip flexor, which can be very stiff. Also, it can put too much pressure on your mobility joints, which then takes it out on your stable joint. So you have got a mobility joint in the ankle, mobility joint in the hip. If they're slightly stiff for some particular reason, then it will take it out on your stable joint in the knee, which won't like that. So if you get any pains in your lead knee, then this will definitely help. So you start, get yourself set to begin with. So do your normal pre-shot routine and then just slightly angle out that lead foot. It reduces the restriction, helps the hip and the ankle, so when you turn through the shot it will just make that movement so much easier, and it doesn't affect the alignment. So do your pre-shot routine, get yourself set, do your alignment first and then angle that foot out before you hit the ball. Very simple, effective move. So the first one is to angle that lead foot out just that little bit more. Number 2 is allowing our lead foot to lift our heel on the backswing. It will then enable you to rotate a lot easier. It will free up the top half, so your rotation, your swing will be slightly longer, which then potentially will then you'll be able to produce slightly more powerful swing and more consistent, because you'll then maintain the angles in the top part of the body. So it's a bigger hip turn, so rather than keeping that lead foot planted, when you're turning back, the lead foot would come up slightly, so as it's coming up, which will then enable you a great trigger point to slam that foot into the floor on the transition, on the downswing. So it will enable you to do a bigger hip turn, which will then enable you then to turn further back with the top half of the body whilst maintaining your angles. So it will just free everything up and make everything feel a lot more comfortable and easier to achieve. With that lead foot planted, slammed down into the ground, it restricts that top half, that movement there, which then can lead to you tilting towards the target, and then that then causes a sequence on the downswing to be all out of sync, which can then lead to different various shots that you're going to hit. So number 2 is that lead heel lift on the backswing. So as you're swinging back, just allow that foot to lift. Bigger hip turn will help create that feeling, which will then enable you then to swing further back while maintaining those angles. Great trigger point to slam it down and come through, which will then give you that increase in power. Number 3 is allowing that lead foot to spin out. So as long as it's spinning on that heel and not on the toe, so as you swing through, if your foot's spinning that way, then you're probably early extending into the shot, and you need to try and get that pressure into that heel. Again, even with your foot angled outwards, there's still pressure going into that hip joint, into that ankle, and we're trying to save that knee. So just allow it to spin out. If you watch Bryson DeChambeau at the moment, his foot will finish, the big toe will finish pointing towards the target. Obviously that's quite extreme, because he is absolutely smashing it through at the moment, producing a tremendous amount of club head speed. But your foot, if it's feeling any resistance, like the foot shifting towards the target in the shoe, so it's trying to burst out the shoe that way, so laterally towards the target, just allow the foot to spin. So you've angled it out at the beginning, you swung back, you allowed the lead foot to lift, you then slammed it into the ground as you're driving through. The foot needs it, wants to spin out, let it go. You've got to let it go. Huge difference to then the body accelerating, driving through that shot. Then when you've got a scenario where you've got this situation where you've got a dog leg to the right, you've got a big carry to make, then you've got that potential to gain that extra yardage and smash it over that dog leg. When you're practicing, you're out of range, just experiment with like 10 balls and see if any difference in consistency and power between that position of that lead foot. It will definitely make a difference. It's quite simple, quite straightforward, very effective. It helps with the movement of the backswing and the sequence of the downswing because you've got a good trigger point, and it enables you to continue and to accelerate past the ball so you have speed out front. It's a winner all round. Any questions or comments, please send them through. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you soon.